You won't believe what just happened at SummerSlam 2025. After months of speculation, legal controversies, and complete radio silence from WWE, the most dangerous man in sports entertainment just made his return in the most shocking way possible. Brock Lesnar didn't just walk back through those curtains. He obliterated John Cena's farewell moment and sent shockwaves through the entire wrestling world. But here's what most people don't realize. This isn't just about one surprise return. This single moment is about to reshape WWE's entire landscape, alter championship pictures, and potentially make or break careers for years to come. I've been analyzing wrestling for over a decade, and I can tell you with absolute certainty, nothing will ever be the same again. What you're about to discover will completely change how you view WWE's current direction and future planning. The timing of Lesnar's return wasn't random, it was calculated, strategic, and designed to solve multiple problems WWE has been facing behind the scenes. We're going to break down exactly why this return is different from every other comeback in wrestling history, how it's already affecting backstage politics, and what this means for your favorite superstars' careers. I'll reveal the three major ways this return is reshaping WWE's creative direction, the shocking business implications that go far beyond what you see on screen, and the dream matches that are now suddenly possible. Plus, I'll share exclusive insights about how the locker room is really reacting to Lesnar's return, and trust me, it's not what you'd expect. By the end of this video, you'll understand why industry insiders are calling this the most significant wrestling moment of 2025. Here's something that will blow your mind about Lesnar's return. It wasn't just a surprise appearance, it was WWE's declaration of war against their own predictability problem. For months, fans have been complaining that WWE programming has become too formulaic, too safe, and frankly, too boring. Then Brock Lesnar walked through those curtains and reminded everyone what real unpredictability looks like. Think about what was happening before his music hit. John Cena was basking in what seemed like a perfect farewell moment, emotional, nostalgic, and completely sanitized for maximum feel-good factor. The crowd was eating it up, social media was buzzing with heartfelt tributes, and everything felt wrapped up in a neat little bow. That's exactly the kind of predictable storytelling that's been plaguing WWE for years. But then Lesnar's music hit, and in 30 seconds, he completely reframed the entire narrative. This wasn't just an attack, it was a statement. WWE was telling us that nothing is safe, no moment is sacred, and the days of predictable endings are over. The look of genuine shock on Cena's face wasn't acting, that was real surprise, real emotion, and real stakes. What makes this even more brilliant is how it transformed Cena's entire farewell tour. Instead of a series of nostalgic matches against safe opponents, we now have the potential for one of the most emotionally intense rivalries in modern wrestling history. This isn't just about titles or championships, this is about legacy, respect, and personal closure. When two legends collide in what could be their final encounters, every move matters, every moment carries weight. The psychological impact on the audience is profound. Lesnar's return has reintroduced that element of danger that wrestling desperately needed. When he's involved, fans don't just watch to see what happens, they watch because they genuinely don't know what's going to happen. That's the difference between entertainment and must-see television. From a creative standpoint, this forces WWE's writing team to operate at a higher level. They can't rely on formulaic booking when Lesnar is in the picture because his character doesn't follow traditional rules. He doesn't wait for his music to hit, he doesn't follow heel or face alignments, and he certainly doesn't respect storyline conventions. This chaos forces everyone around him to elevate their game. The ripple effects are already being felt across the entire roster. Other storylines now have to account for the possibility of Lesnar's interference. Champions are looking over their shoulders. Challengers are wondering if their moment might be interrupted. This uncertainty creates a tension that permeates every segment, every match, and every storyline. But here's the most important part. This return proves that WWE still has the ability to shock us. In an era where spoilers leak constantly and surprises are rare, Lesnar's comeback was kept completely secret. That level of security and surprise execution shows that when WWE wants to create a genuine moment, they still have the power to do it. The question now is whether they'll use this momentum to continue breaking their own patterns or fall back into comfortable predictability. Now let me reveal something that most fans don't understand about Lesnar's return. This isn't just about entertainment. It's about massive financial implications that reach far beyond what you see on your screen. The timing of this comeback is absolutely crucial, and when you understand the business context, you'll realize why WWE was willing to bring back their most controversial superstar despite all the legal complications. First, let's talk about the immediate financial impact. Lesnar's return instantly transforms WWE's negotiating position with broadcast partners and advertisers. Networks and sponsors aren't just buying wrestling content, they're buying proven commodities that deliver ratings and generate buzz. Lesnar brings something that very few performers in any entertainment medium can deliver: guaranteed mainstream attention. His crossover appeal is unmatched in professional wrestling. Thanks to his UFC career, viral highlights, and legitimate fighting background, Lesnar attracts viewers who don't normally watch wrestling. When he appears, social media explodes, sports news outlets cover the story, and casual fans tune in. That's exactly the kind of broad appeal that makes network executives and advertisers open their checkbooks. But here's where it gets really interesting. The timing of this return coincides perfectly with WWE's major contract negotiations and international expansion efforts. This isn't coincidental. WWE needed a trump card for these discussions, and Lesnar is the ultimate ace in the hole. When you're negotiating billion-dollar deals, having a performer who can single-handedly boost viewership numbers gives you incredible leverage. The merchandise implications are equally staggering. Lesnar's return immediately creates demand for new t-shirts, action figures, and collectibles. But more importantly, it revitalizes interest in existing WWE merchandise across the board. When casual fans tune in to see Lesnar, they're exposed to the entire WWE product line. That's how one performer's return can boost revenue streams that seem completely unrelated. From a live event perspective, Lesnar's presence transforms any show from a regular house show into a must-see spectacle. Ticket prices can be increased, venues can be upgraded, and international tours become significantly more valuable. Saudi Arabia shows, European tours, and premium live events all become more marketable with Lesnar's name attached. The streaming numbers tell an incredible story too. Peacock subscriptions spike whenever Lesnar appears, and international streaming partners see immediate increases in viewership. In the modern entertainment landscape, where streaming metrics determine content value, Lesnar's ability to drive these numbers makes him worth far more than his appearance fee. But perhaps the most significant financial impact is how Lesnar's return affects WWE's overall valuation. In an industry where companies are valued based on their ability to generate consistent revenue and maintain audience engagement, having a performer who can single-handedly move the needle is invaluable. This return doesn't just boost short-term profits, it demonstrates WWE's ability to create moments that transcend wrestling and enter mainstream culture. The investment in Lesnar also pays dividends through what economists call the halo effect. His presence elevates the perceived value of everyone around him. Other wrestlers benefit from being associated with his storylines, and the entire product feels more prestigious when he's involved. That's how one performer's return can justify significant financial investment while generating returns that extend far beyond their individual appearances. Here's what WWE doesn't want you to know about how Lesnar's return is really affecting the backstage environment, and trust me, the reality is far more complex and fascinating than anything you'll see on television. The moment Lesnar walked back through those curtains, he didn't just change storylines, he completely altered the power dynamics, career trajectories, and political landscape that every WWE superstar has to navigate. Let's start with the elephant in the room, resentment. Some full-time wrestlers are absolutely frustrated by Lesnar's return, and they have legitimate reasons. Here's a guy who works a handful of dates per year, commands massive paydays, and immediately slots into main event positions that other performers have been grinding for months to achieve. Wrestlers like Gunther, who've been carrying the company week after week, suddenly find themselves potentially pushed down the card to make room for a part-timer. But here's where it gets interesting. The smart wrestlers understand the business reality. Lesnar's return doesn't just benefit him, it creates opportunities for everyone. When he's involved in storylines, the entire show gets more attention. More viewers mean better ratings, which lead to increased revenue, which ultimately results in better contracts and opportunities for the entire roster. The wrestlers who understand this are already positioning themselves to benefit from his presence. The psychological impact on the locker room is profound. Lesnar operates by different rules, and everyone knows it. He doesn't attend weekly meetings, he doesn't follow traditional protocols, and he certainly doesn't play political games. This creates a unique dynamic where other wrestlers have to adjust their own strategies and expectations. Some see this as unfair, while others view it as motivation to reach a level where they too can command such treatment. Young wrestlers are particularly affected by his return. For rising stars like Braun Breaker, Carmelo Hayes, and others, Lesnar's presence represents both an opportunity and a threat. On one hand, getting any kind of interaction with Lesnar, even being destroyed by him, can elevate a career overnight. On the other hand, his return might delay their own pushes as creative resources are redirected toward established stars. The veteran wrestlers have a completely different perspective. They understand that Lesnar's drawing power helps everyone's bottom line. When he appears, merchandise sales increase across the board, live event attendance improves, and the overall value of being a WWE performer rises. Veterans like Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, who've been in the business long enough to understand these dynamics, are likely viewing his return as a positive development. But perhaps the most significant backstage impact is how Lesnar's return affects creative meetings and long-term planning. Writers and producers now have to account for his schedule and preferences when mapping out storylines. This creates a ripple effect that influences booking decisions for months in advance. Storylines that seemed set in stone might be completely rewritten to accommodate his involvement. The training environment has also shifted. Wrestlers who might potentially face Lesnar are adjusting their preparation routines, working on different techniques, and mentally preparing for a completely different style of match. His presence forces everyone to elevate their game, even if they never actually step in the ring with him. Most importantly, Lesnar's return serves as a reminder of what's possible in WWE. He represents the pinnacle of success, a performer who transcended wrestling to become a mainstream attraction. For every wrestler in that locker room, his presence is both inspiration and intimidation, showing them what they could achieve while reminding them how far they still have to go. This is where things get absolutely insane. Lesnar's return has just unlocked a treasure trove of dream matches that seemed impossible just weeks ago. We're not just talking about good matches or entertaining feuds. We're talking about once-in-a-lifetime encounters that could define careers, break attendance records, and create moments that wrestling fans will discuss for decades. Let's start with the most obvious and potentially explosive matchup, Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes. These two have history, having engaged in a trilogy of matches from 2022 to 2023 that told an incredible story of Cody's rise to championship level. But now, with Cody as the established champion and Lesnar returning as the unpredictable force of nature, a fourth encounter would carry completely different emotional weight. Imagine Lesnar claiming he allowed Cody to win before, that he was holding back, or that Cody's championship reign exists only because of his mercy. The psychological warfare alone would be worth the price of admission. Then there's the fresh matchup that has hardcore fans salivating, Lesnar versus Gunther. This represents a clash of titans that we've never seen before. Gunther has been built as WWE's next great monster, an unstoppable force who dominated the Intercontinental Championship for over 600 days. But Lesnar is the original monster, the apex predator who's conquered every mountain in professional wrestling. The contrast in styles would be fascinating: Gunther's methodical, punishing approach versus Lesnar's explosive, unpredictable violence. This match wouldn't just be about who wins, it would be about passing the torch from one generation of dominance to the next. The potential CM Punk matchup adds another layer of intrigue, assuming health and backstage politics align properly. These two have never faced each other in a significant capacity, and both represent different eras of WWE's evolution. Punk's technical prowess and psychological manipulation against Lesnar's raw power and legitimate fighting background would create a fascinating dynamic. The story writes itself: the straight-edge superstar who conquered the company through skill and determination versus the beast who dominated through pure physical superiority. But here's a matchup that could steal the show: Lesnar versus LA Knight. Knight has been one of WWE's most charismatic performers, but he needs that one defining moment to catapult him into the upper echelon. A feud with Lesnar, even if Knight ultimately loses, could provide that career-defining opportunity. Knight's microphone skills against Lesnar's intimidating presence would create compelling television, and the David versus Goliath dynamic would resonate with audiences. The international implications are equally exciting. Lesnar's return makes WWE's upcoming tours significantly more valuable. Imagine Lesnar appearing at a UK show, facing someone like Drew McIntyre in front of a rabid Scottish crowd. Or picture him in Japan, potentially facing someone with strong Puroresu credentials. These aren't just matches, they're cultural events that transcend wrestling. Perhaps most intriguingly, Lesnar's return opens the door for multi-man scenarios that seemed impossible before. A fatal four-way involving Lesnar, Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk would be the kind of main event that could anchor WrestleMania. The storytelling possibilities are endless: former champions, current champions, returning legends, and rising stars all colliding in one epic encounter. Each of these potential matches represents more than just entertainment. They're business opportunities, career-defining moments, and chances to create wrestling history. The fact that all of these scenarios are now suddenly possible shows just how dramatically Lesnar's return has expanded WWE's creative horizons. Here's the most mind-blowing aspect of Lesnar's return that nobody is talking about: this isn't just about the next few months or even the next year. This single moment has fundamentally altered WWE's trajectory for the next decade, and the implications are so far-reaching that we're only beginning to understand them. First, let's examine how this return changes WWE's approach to surprise and secrecy. In an era where everything leaks, where spoilers spread faster than wildfire, and where genuine surprises are nearly impossible to achieve, WWE managed to keep Lesnar's return completely under wraps. This proves they still have the infrastructure and discipline to create genuine shock moments when they choose to. That capability becomes a strategic advantage they can deploy for future returns, debuts, and storyline twists. The precedent this sets for other part-time performers is equally significant. Lesnar's successful return despite legal controversies and extended absence sends a clear message to other former stars: the door is always open if you can still draw money and generate buzz. This could influence decisions by performers like Batista, John Morrison, or even more controversial figures who might have assumed their WWE careers were over. From a creative standpoint, Lesnar's return validates WWE's willingness to take calculated risks with their storytelling. For years, the company has been criticized for playing it safe, for sanitizing their product, and for avoiding anything that might generate negative publicity. By bringing back Lesnar despite the potential backlash, WWE demonstrated they're willing to prioritize entertainment value and business success over public relations concerns. The impact on WWE's talent development philosophy is profound. Lesnar's return reinforces the value of creating larger-than-life characters who transcend traditional wrestling boundaries. This could influence how they develop future stars, encouraging them to build performers who have crossover appeal and mainstream recognition rather than just in-ring technical ability. The international expansion implications are staggering. Lesnar's global recognition, built through his UFC career and previous WWE runs, makes him an invaluable asset for WWE's worldwide growth strategy. His presence legitimizes WWE programming in markets where professional wrestling might be viewed as purely entertainment rather than athletic competition. Countries that respect combat sports immediately understand Lesnar's credibility, opening doors for WWE in regions they've struggled to penetrate. But here's where the long-term impact becomes truly revolutionary. Lesnar's return establishes a new template for how WWE can revitalize their product during creative lulls. Instead of relying solely on developing new stars or recycling existing storylines, they've proven they can strategically deploy returning legends to inject immediate energy and unpredictability into their programming. This becomes a repeatable strategy that can be used whenever ratings decline or fan interest wanes. The psychological impact on current and future WWE performers cannot be overstated. Every wrestler now understands that no matter how high they climb, no matter how secure their position seems, someone like Lesnar can return at any moment and completely reshape the landscape. This creates a competitive environment where complacency becomes impossible. Wrestlers must constantly evolve, improve, and prepare for the unexpected because the next surprise return could make or break their careers. From a business model perspective, Lesnar's return validates WWE's investment in maintaining relationships with former stars even during extended absences. The infrastructure required to facilitate his comeback, legal negotiations, creative planning, production coordination, represents a significant investment that has now paid massive dividends. This proves the value of keeping doors open and maintaining connections with performers who might seem finished with the company. The streaming and digital content implications extend far beyond traditional television. Lesnar's return generates massive social media engagement, creates viral moments, and drives subscription numbers across multiple platforms. In an entertainment landscape increasingly dominated by digital metrics, his ability to move these numbers makes him invaluable for WWE's long-term digital strategy. Perhaps most significantly, this return demonstrates WWE's evolution from a wrestling company to a comprehensive entertainment conglomerate. By successfully integrating a controversial figure back into their programming while managing public relations concerns, they've shown sophisticated understanding of modern media dynamics. This capability will serve them well as they continue expanding into movies, streaming content, and other entertainment ventures. The talent recruitment implications are equally important. Lesnar's return sends a message to athletes in other sports that WWE remains the premier destination for crossover stars. MMA fighters, NFL players, and Olympic athletes now see that WWE not only welcomes legitimate athletes but positions them as main event attractions. This could influence future recruitment efforts and help WWE continue attracting credible performers from other sports. Finally, Lesnar's return establishes a new standard for what constitutes a career-defining moment in modern WWE. His ability to completely alter the company's direction with a single appearance shows that individual performers can still have a transformative impact in an era of corporate entertainment. This inspires current wrestlers to strive for that level of influence while reminding fans that wrestling can still produce genuine, unpredictable moments that transcend scripted entertainment. So there you have it, 5 game-changing ways Brock Lesnar's return is reshaping WWE forever. We've seen how he's revolutionized their storytelling approach, created massive financial opportunities, altered backstage dynamics, unlocked incredible dream matches, and established a template for future success that will influence the company for years to come. But here's what I want you to remember most. This return proves that wrestling can still surprise us. In an age of spoilers and predictability, WWE managed to create a genuine shock moment that reminded us why we fell in love with this business in the first place. Lesnar didn't just attack John Cena. He attacked our expectations and forced us to remember that anything can happen in professional wrestling. The ripple effects of this moment will be felt for months, possibly years to come. Every championship match now carries the possibility of Lesnar's interference. Every storyline must account for his unpredictable presence. Every wrestler must prepare for the possibility that their biggest moment could be interrupted by the Beast Incarnate. Whether you love him or hate him, whether you think his return was necessary or controversial, one thing is undeniable: Brock Lesnar has once again proven that he's the most influential performer in professional wrestling. His mere presence changes everything, and WWE will never be the same. Now I want to hear from you. What was your reaction when Lesnar's music hit at SummerSlam? Were you shocked, excited, or frustrated? And more importantly, which dream match are you most excited to see? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, and let me know if you think WWE made the right call bringing him back. If this breakdown opened your eyes to the business side of wrestling, make sure you're subscribed because I dive deep into the stories behind the stories every week. Hit that notification bell so you don't miss any of the analysis, and if you want to see me break down more surprise returns and their impact, let me know in the comments what other wrestling moments you'd like me to analyze. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one, where we'll be discussing how this return might affect the Royal Rumble and WrestleMania plans. Trust me, you won't want to miss it.